Hey everyone, welcome to the ultimate guide to recruiting 3 stars, quarterback edition. This is the first position we're really diving into the numbers of what 3 stars offer. We're gonna go over kind of what to expect. We'll cover the overall, average number of caps. Where are the caps for each tendency? We're gonna look at the percentage of gems, busts. What we're gonna find is that there's a wide variety of quarterbacks at the 3-star level. As you would expect, I think there's the most amount of recruits at the 3-star level, so they're going to have the most range. The 4 and 5 stars have a limited number, so they're going to be more consistent. But at the 3-star level, you're going to see a lot of variety, but you can get some guys that can really help your team. First thing we're doing is diving into the numbers. I recruited an entire recruiting class of quarterbacks. I broke them down into tendency. I recorded all of their attributes that you can see as you recruit them, and then I found out their overalls after they signed, looked at their dev traits, their accuracy skill group, their power skill group, all of that stuff. Then I looked at the number of caps for each skill group and how that plays out. So first thing we're going over is just the averages. On the sheet you see on your screen, again, broke them down into creators. We had 24 of them in this class. Dual threat, we had 18. Athlete dual threat, we had 10. Pocket passers, we had 22, and then pure runners, we had 11. Not going to spend a lot of time here, but you can kind of see who comes in rated the highest for each of the attributes. So pocket passers come in with the highest awareness by a long shot. And as you go, you can see a bold box around the highest rated tendency. So throw power goes to dual threat, short accuracy goes to pocket, medium accuracy goes to pocket, deep accuracy goes to creator, throw on the run goes to pure runner, throw under pressure goes to creator, break sack goes to backfield creator, speed goes to athlete dual threat, acceleration goes to pure runner, and then athlete dual threats come in as the highest overall on average. But we'll find out more data on maybe why that's not necessarily an accurate depiction of what you're getting when you sign them. Okay, the second half of these numbers is what I get after they sign with the team. So again, I tracked down all the guys, found out their numbers. So we got backfield creators coming in with the highest dev trait average, then the pure runners, then the dual threats, both the regular and the athlete, and then surprisingly, the pocket passers come in with the lowest dev trait average. Then you can see the accuracy skill group, which I think for most of the tendencies is going to be deep accuracy, throw on the run, short throw accuracy, medium throw accuracy, and throw under pressure. But pocket passers take that. Then we look at the accuracy caps. The regular dual threat guys have the least amount of caps within their accuracy. Then under power, which throw power is the biggest one here for QBs, pocket passers take that again with the initial rating. But you look at the next column, backfield creators take the caps by a pretty good margin. So these numbers here are giving us a good idea of where each tendency has the most caps, has the least caps, and I think that can kind of help you as you're recruiting a 3-star, what to expect if you target a pocket passer. You know you're getting accuracy, you're getting power for the most part initially, but they may have more caps, which may limit them. Okay, IQ. Pocket passers take that one again. You see the first 3 skill groups, pocket passers took that. But when it comes to caps, the regular dual threat beats out the pocket passer just barely. And then you can see the athlete dual threat on average has the most caps when it comes to IQ. And that's going to be your awareness at play action. Ball carrier vision might be in there for some of these guys. We jump over to elusiveness. The pure runner takes that pretty handily. The athlete dual threat was 1 point behind. Nobody else is really close. And we look at the caps. Athlete dual threat averages 3.9. They take that pretty easily. We jump over to quickness. Athlete dual threat gets that. But the backfield creator has the least amount of caps. We jump over to health. Regular dual threat takes the overall, but pure runner has the least amount of caps in health. So in the last column, you can see the total caps. And this isn't, I don't think it's a true indicator of what to expect. This is just kind of our beginning number collection here. But you do get an idea of where each tendency has their caps for the most part. But because pocket passers have the least amount of caps, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to turn out the best. It's about where they hold those caps. And if we jump over to the full table, the average number of caps for a 3-star QB is 26.6. So what, 26 and a half, which I don't think is terrible. I think with 26 caps, you can develop a pretty good quarterback at the 3-star level. And we're going to take a closer look at some of these individuals to find out where their caps can be held and what that looks like. Okay, now let's break it down by tendency. We're going to jump into Backfield Creator. Again, I collected the first part of data with all the numbers that you get when you scout them. The second part is their overall, their dev trait, everything you see after you sign them. So with Backfield Creators, they tend to hold the most caps with their IQ and their health. So 5.14 on the IQ caps, 5.14 on the health caps. That's injury, toughness, stamina. So again, to me, not the biggest of deals. The next most capped is going to be elusiveness. You can see at 4.91. The next most caps are in accuracy. This to me is a bigger deal. If you look through the column here, the most caps a guy has is 10, which is halfway. So he's not going to develop much accuracy. And that same guy only has 2 caps on power. So he's going to develop a strong arm. It's just not going to be really accurate. And I think that's what you can expect out of a Backfield Creator, right? A strong arm, not really accurate. All right, next most caps is in quickness. And then the least amount of caps for them, which is the least amount for any quarterback tendency, is going to be the power caps. So expect to get a guy who has a strong arm. For the most part, probably won't be super accurate or aware, but he can develop some quickness and elusiveness. And then the next thing I want to highlight is their average dev trait. They had the highest dev trait average amongst all the tendencies. They had 1.67. And for the dev traits, I just subbed the number 1 for normal, 2 for impact, and 3 for star. 4 would have been for elite, but nobody was elite at the 3-star level. Then we broke it down even further because gems, we'll discuss in a little bit, aren't really accurately displayed. So impact, we had 7 guys at impact. We had 3 guys at star development. So we look at that, we had 10 total guys with impact or star development, and we only had 2 gems. And here's why I said I think the gems are a little bit broken in this game. We've got Vi Whipple, impact dev trait, 5 total caps. That to me is a gem. And I think for what the game is supposed to offer recruiting wise and the information we should get, I think as a video game player, as we recruit and build our team, it's annoying to know that this guy isn't labeled as a gem. Okay, then we jump to Matthew Fallon. He has an impact dev trait. He only has 16 caps. Again, the average is 26. That to me should be a gem. Then we look at Jordan Vigil. Impact dev trait, 17 caps. That should be a gem. I mean, look at all these gems they're missing. Even more egregious, Rashad Fatanukin, star dev, 21 caps. Easily should be a gem. And even the next 2 guys, Jabari Coward, Diego Applewhite, impact and star dev, 22 caps each. So as you recruit 3 stars, don't expect for the game to notify you accurately of where a gem is. I really wanted to dive into the numbers. I mean, I did it last year. I have a couple of videos on 3 stars, JUCOs, 2 stars, 1 stars. But this year I wanted to break it down by position and tendency and really dive in. What can we expect if we go after a Backfield Creator? And now we're seeing it, right? We know where their caps are. We know the average overall they come in at. We can get a pretty good idea of what to expect. Right? We can get an idea of the possibility of getting a star dev, an impact dev, and the average number of caps. So a quick look at Backfield Creators here. Hopefully you found that useful. We're going to dive into Dual Threat here. Dual Threat may be labeled more accurately, gem-wise. As you can see on here, an average overall is 66.88. Average dev trait is 1.53. You can see the first 2 guys listed as gems. Impact dev, 12 and 13 caps. The next 2 guys maybe aren't gems or normal dev. But then the 5th guy, Noah Myers, impact dev, 22 caps, probably a gem. Because you look at Isaac Johns, impact dev, 24 total caps. So maybe a missed gem here. So this is kind of what I meant when I said wide variety of QBs. You're going to get some guys that are accurately labeled gems, some guys that are hidden gems. You're also going to see guys, and we didn't go over it with Backfield Creators, but you're going to see guys who weren't identified as a bust. Right, to me, let's look down here. Jamichael Witt, right? Normal dev, 36 caps. That to me should probably be a bust. Even 33 caps at normal dev. And if we go back at Backfield Creator, we got a guy here with 38 caps at normal dev. Probably a bust. Right, 37 caps, normal development. Probably a bust. Okay, so we're not getting told accurately about who's a gem, who's a bust. Okay, let's jump into Athlete Dual Threat. Again, they had the highest overall average when they got signed at 68.8. And you can see why if you look up top here, which maybe you already caught. We've got Zach Jefferson and Terrell Shanawin, I don't know how you say his last name, 81 and 79. I mean, if you sign that guy, you're extremely happy. They're not labeled as a gem, right? They're normal development, both of them, but 28 and 36 caps. So you get this guy really high overall, but especially Terrell, get really high rating, 36 caps. But let's check out where these caps are for him. Accuracy, only 2. Power, he's got 5, but he's already got 94 throw power. He's maxed out. That's not bad. IQ, he has 8 caps. Right, his awareness is already at 71. Play action is pretty good. Carrying 66. Ball carry vision 63. He'll bump those up by 10 each probably, something along those lines. So he'll still get pretty good at those. Only 5 caps on elusiveness, but his ratings already come in pretty good. Quickness, 87 speed, 84 excel. Not bad. He's capped out, but that's not bad. Health, injury at 96. Stamina is a little bit low at 79. Toughness at 81. Not terrible, right? We can work with that, especially at the 3-star level. This guy can come in, you're rebuilding a program. He can come in and be your starter day 1. Let's take a look at Zach Jefferson. He's got 28 caps. But again, let's see where those caps are. Hey, accuracy's at 84. He's only got 5 caps. That'll jump up maybe 6 to 90 accuracy. All of those skills, I think, will jump up about 6 as well. I think they usually go up by 1, 2, sometimes even 3. Power, only 1 cap, so he can really develop a strong arm to make all the throws. IQ, he's got 8 caps. But again, he's at 71. Play action is 79. He can increase those by, I think, about 10 each, which isn't terrible. And again, if you're using him, it's even less terrible. Elusiveness. Again, good numbers already. 88 change of direction. 87 agility. He can bump all these up by 4, 5, which isn't bad. Quickness, speed at 86, acceleration 87, stamina 82. Maxed out, but those are good numbers. Those are solid. Health, he's only got 2 caps. So when you see 28 caps, and again, I started with the averages. We see that the averages, we have to pay attention to where the caps are, which most of you probably already know. But for me, it's good to see where the caps are and to actually look at the numbers of a full recruiting class to get an idea of what to expect. You know, then we even got Marcus Clemens here, comes in at 69 overall. He's an impact dev. He's only got 25 caps. He can develop into something. Then we got a star dev here, David Finley. You know, what can he turn into? He's at 66 overall, 26 caps, right? But let's see what their caps are. 7 in health, that's good. That's where we'd want it. I'd prefer it in quickness as well. Elusiveness is 0. IQ is at 3. Power has 8. You know, what's his throw power at already? Yeah, 76. Okay, so maybe not going to be the strongest arm, but not terrible. And then accuracy, he's got 2 caps. So it can probably develop into, again, another solid starter. You're rebuilding a team. Maybe he sits 1 year. You manually progress him. He jumps up into maybe 70, low 70s. But I really wanted to show you these top 2 guys. I know that's exciting to see, 81 and 79 in a recruiting class. And I know TNJ found a 3-star, I think he was 79 overall recruit with impact development, maybe normal development. But he signed him in his Nevada series, and he's leading their team to a really great year. So I'm guessing this is not an anomaly. I think, again, based on my experience and then watching TNJ get a guy like this, I'm guessing there's 1 or 2 in each recruiting class with the athlete dual threat. I can't remember if TNJ's was an athlete, but let's look at regular dual threat. I think we had a guy in here too. We had a 75 overall, right? Jason Madu, 75 overall, normal dev, but only 14 caps. Should have been a gem, right? I think even with normal development, but with 14 caps, you have a lot of room to develop this guy. Should have been labeled a gem. Okay, let's look at pocket passers. Let's start with the highest overall guy. So 71, Byron Carter. Let's see where he's signed. Boston College. Okay, let's go to Boston College. Boom, here we go. Byron Carter. I think they got two. They got a dual threat guy at 70, so Joel Prince. Byron Carter, 71 overall, normal dev. I hate that when you pull up a team that's not controlled by you, you can't see their dev trait. I like to see dev traits when I scout teams, when I just look at teams I'm playing. So I wish they would add that in. And when I'm doing stuff like this and collecting data, it'd be great if that popped in. Otherwise, I've got to go create another coach to take over BC to see all the dev traits. I did that for all the guys, but it's time consuming, and I wish they would just pop it up on this screen without having to control the team. Okay, moving on. Byron Carter, normal dev trait, 24 caps, not bad, right? But where are the caps? And here we see accuracy only going to go up a tick. Power is done, although he's got 90 throw power, right? Not the worst thing. IQ has a lot of room for improvement. We like to see that. Elusiveness, break sack, it'd be nice to get that a little bit higher, but agility, change of direction, maybe that helps him move in the pocket, but he can get that up quite a bit. And quickness is not maxed and health is not maxed. So although he can't develop any more throw power or accuracy, his IQ can go up quite a bit, turn him into maybe a low 80s, mid 80s kind of guy, which is good enough. Again, you're rebuilding a team. So Byron Carter could be a quality starter for you. And I think most people think of 3 stars as guys who can come in, start if you're rebuilding, or somebody you just need to assign to add depth. And again, what we're trying to tease out of these numbers is what to expect when you're signing these guys. Right? If you're looking for a depth piece at a certain position, if you're looking for a depth piece at QB, hopefully this video will give you a better understanding of what to expect as you're recruiting them. Okay, next thing I want to show you is we have 2 3-star development guys. The rest are just normal dev. You can see here Clint Holyfield, star development, 8 caps. He is not labeled as a gem. Now let's pull him up here. Here we go. Clint Holyfield, 8 caps, star dev, not labeled as a gem. Also, one thing I want to mention is that they're not going to come in with any physicals. I think we had 3 guys come in with physical abilities. One was Dot, and that was by the Jefferson dual threat guy. That was 81 overall. And then you'll see we have 2 pure runners that get the magician ability. But other than that, there's no physical abilities that these guys get. So Clint Holyfield should be a gem, not labeled a gem. And there is another 3-star dev trait in this class. He did not sign in this file, so I don't have the numbers on this spreadsheet. But I have a file where he signed. I'm going to pull that up quick. Okay, so here we have Brent Jean. I can see star dev, a lot of caps. I don't have the numbers on my spreadsheet, but we can count here. He's got 8 caps in accuracy, looks like 9 in power. So not where you want him to be. Throw power is only at 83. Accuracy can jump up 10, so maybe to 83 medium throw. Not going to be the best thrower. And as a pocket passer, that's kind of what you're looking for. IQ can go way up. He's only got 1 cap. Elusiveness can get better, as can quickness. Maybe he turns into more of a dual threat guy, but I think as far as arm talent goes, somebody who's maxed out, and definitely a development guy. But other than Clint Holyfield and Brent Jean here, every other pocket passer was a normal development. Again, this is one recruiting class, so we have to take that with a grain of salt. Again, this is only one recruiting class, so this could change from class to class. But as a baseline, this kind of gives us a good idea of what to expect. Okay, let's move on to pure runners. Okay, pure runners. The highest guy comes in at 69 overall. That's Jaquez Boone. You can see he's impact dev. Let me pull up his card here. On our spreadsheet, we get him as impact dev, 22 caps. That to me should maybe be a gem. Accuracy, there's no caps. Power, he's got 9. So it can maybe jump up by, it looks like maybe 14. Assuming it goes by 2 every time, but sometimes it goes by 1 as well, I think. And sometimes even 3, depending on how high you get up. But so it looks like mid 80s throw power, I'd say. IQ only has 4. Elusiveness is maxed out. Quickness, so you can get a lot quicker. No caps there. And then health, no caps. So it should probably be a gem. Then let's jump to Maurice Okafor. Star development, 68 overall. 15 total caps. Not labeled as a gem. And again, we don't get any indication that he's a gem, which as somebody who loves recruiting, Love scouting guys. That's a little annoying that these first two guys aren't identified as gems. But you can see Maurice here, again, accuracy, only 2 caps. Power, only 5. Okay, so a lot of room for him to develop here. IQ, no caps. Elusiveness, no caps. Quickness is going to be capped, but again, as a pure runner, that's kind of hard to see. But he can get to, what, 83, 84 speed, and his health only has 1 caps. So as quarterbacks go, this is where you'd want to see most of the caps, I think. And elusiveness and quickness is where I'd want to see most of them. Because I think if you can get a guy with around 80 speed, he could do damage on breed options, on speed options. He can be good enough. I'd rather see less caps up here, which I think most people would agree with, as well as IQ. Okay, let's jump back to the spreadsheet. You can see we got 1 gem identified here. It is Doug Treggs. He has 33 total caps at normal dev. It is a bust. But you look at the guy right above him, Marcus Ibrahim, normal dev, 31 caps. That's probably a bust. All right, then we look at Jaron Burdick, 34 caps, normal dev. Should probably be a bust. As I dove through these numbers, as I collected them, it became pretty clear that the gem bust system isn't super accurate. There's going to be hidden gems, there's going to be hidden busts, and you're kind of just hoping that you get one that's good. All right, it's great if the game identifies it for you, but more than likely, it's going to miss a gem, it's going to miss a bust for you, and it's kind of like the lottery. You're hoping you get somebody with impact dev trait, average caps to low caps, and you can get that, and you have no idea until he's on your team. Okay, last thing I want to jump to is getting me looked at. The gem, the bust system is off. Let's look at the number of impact guys we have. You can see this is on the main spreadsheet with all the quarterbacks on there. A little side note, you can see we had 15 unsigned guys. There were a few guys that I couldn't scout because I was taking over every team I could to scout these guys and get them on the board. You can see I scouted, I think, 85 guys. And of those 85, we had 20 guys that were impact development. And you got 7 star development guys. And as you saw, we had quite a few, maybe half, maybe more, that weren't identified as a gem. So you really, again, I said earlier, it's kind of like playing the lottery. You have no idea what you're getting at the 3-star level. Okay, let's jump back to averages here. You can see the game identified 6 gems. 2 were Backfield Creator, 4 were regular Dual Threat, no other gems identified in the other 3 tendencies. We had 9 busts that were identified. 3 in Backfield Creator, 1 in Dual Threat regular, none in Athlete Dual Threat, 4 in Pocket Passer, 1 in Runner. But again, as you saw, they've missed busts, they've missed gems, and I think that's the biggest takeaway from all of these numbers, is that the game isn't going to tell you if you have a gem or a bust very accurately. So if you're looking for a 3-star quarterback, I would suggest signing 2 or 3 each class, seeing who the best is, and then the next season encourage 1 of them, 2 of them to transfer. Because if you sign 3, the odds of you getting a good quarterback is pretty good. So that's all the information I have for you. That's all the data I collected. It was a lot. And I think some key pieces of information, the incoming overall is not as big of a deal as the dev trait and where their caps are. Okay, another key, you can get an athlete dual threat who comes in at 81, 79 overall. I'm guessing they're going to be 1 or 2 in every recruiting class. That's just a guess. You may have to dive in and find that out for yourself. But again, based on my experience and T&J, which is 2 recruiting classes, that tells me that the odds are pretty good, that there's 1 in every class. And last thing I want to mention, the scouting does not accurately tell you who is a gem, who is a bust. It's hit or miss. Before I sign off, I want to show you Nelson Myers. Did we highlight this guy yet? He was a bust, but he only had 20 caps. Let's pull him up. Okay, here we have Nelson Myers, normal dev. They've labeled him as a bust with 20 caps at the 3-star level. That to me is inaccurate. Right, look at his cap. He has 2 caps here, 4 here, 6 in IQ. I mean, these are spread out pretty well. And for him to be a bust, I just don't think that's true. He's going to get 20 to 25 training points every season to bump these up. You bump accuracy and power. I mean, you can develop him into a pretty solid quarterback. So again, the scouting does not accurately tell you who's a gem, who's a bust. Now, if you want to see how these guys develop, both manually and automatically, be sure to watch my next video where I compared two similar QBs of each tendency. One manually progressed, the other auto-progressed. So let me know your experience recruiting 3-star QBs. Have you signed one of the high overall guys, 81, 79 overall athlete dual threat guys? Have you signed a high overall in any other tendency? Where do you see the caps? What would your advice be to somebody who's rebuilding, looking for 3 stars? What would you tell them to look for? There were a lot of great takeaways from diving into this data. I'm glad I did it. I hope you enjoyed it. Share your thoughts below on 3-star QBs. I've got the running backs coming up next. So until the next one, keep gaming, keep growing, and keep celebrating those obscure victories. Game on.